Hey everyone, Christoph the Polish Geek with the review of last two episodes of Ahsoka, more specifically Ahsoka finale, and I have to say, very disappointing. Not that I like the show, from my previous reviews you could tell, I wasn't a huge fan of the show in general, so that finale was really a surprise for me, but I have to be honest, even for any show finale, it was like one of the most underwhelming, boring finales ever. Like, nothing much happened, no payoff whatsoever or anything. So yeah, as I said, I did not like most of the show until Thrawn came in the picture, and then again it was mostly about liking Thrawn than an actual show, and now I certainly did not like the finale. And even then, in those last two episodes, Thrawn doesn't really feel that like a threat or intimidating. It feels like he could be replaced with any other Imperial officer and change appearance, and the story wouldn't change much, especially that Thrawn is supposed to be competent. Like, I heard in the Timothy Zahn's trilogy, he almost brought the New Republic to its knees with just the Imperial remnants. I haven't read those books, as I already said many times, but this Thrawn certainly doesn't feel like he could ever do that. And he doesn't even feel like the Rebels version of him, because I actually really love Rebels. I said it a couple of times, and I always thought Admiral Thrawn was actually awesome in Rebels, even if some people who read Timothy Zahn's trilogy didn't really like him in Rebels, but I personally loved him in Rebels. Maybe I'll be saying different if I read that Timothy Zahn's book trilogy, but as things stand, I haven't read it, so yeah, I loved Thrawn in Rebels, but this doesn't even feel like that Thrawn. It just because this Thrawn doesn't feel committed at all. Like, his plans to capture the heroes or no don't feel smart or brilliant or anything. If anything, he comes off as a complete fool in those episodes. And then at the end, when he embarks on a quest to conquer the New Republic, I don't feel stakes there. I know I'm supposed to, but I don't. And granted, Thrawn can only be as competent as the story that really is allowing him to be, but then at the same time, pick a different writer, because in the past I used to be a huge fan of David Filoni. Like, you already know how a gigantic fan of the Clone Wars I am, and I love Rebels, and I love the Bad Batch too, and Tales of the Jedi, but like season 3 of The Mandalorian and now Ahsoka, like, he hasn't done a good job on those, and I'm not surprised so many people are losing faith in him. Like, if it wasn't for The Bad Batch and Tales of the Jedi still coming, I would probably also completely give up on Filoni, in all honesty, because clearly he's not the George Lucas apprentice we always thought he was. I mean, Thrawn does ultimately win in the end, but it doesn't come off as true villain victory with stakes. No, it comes off as he just won because that's what the writers want him to. That's it. And then Thrawn is not the only problem in this episode. He's probably the biggest one because I love Thrawn, but Morgan Elsbeth is a problem too. Like, she lost to Ahsoka in the season 2 of The Mandalorian, and here this has been revealed she didn't really have powers, and now she finally became an Eighth Sister and developed powers, only to get killed off right away. Like, what? Like, why even then give her all those powers if you're just gonna kill her off right away? When you give her those powers, like, she actually felt far more bigger threat in the Mandalorian than she felt here. In the Mandalorian, she didn't have any powers, but there, she actually felt like somewhat of a threat. But here, not so much, and I'm confused why even give her then the powers. I mean, why not just kill her off then right before she gets those powers at least? But why give her powers and then kill her off like the powers are not doing anything? Like, this is so stupid. And another issue I had is that they very much double down on what they are doing with Sabine and Force powers. Like, I said it already a couple of times, Sabine is not Force sensitive, and by training someone who's not Force sensitive as a Jedi and claiming anyone can be a Jedi just simply goes against the lore of Star Wars. While you can make an argument that Ahsoka's ways are unorthodox, and that's why I kind of let it slide, but now they ultimately did give Sabine Force powers, and she literally forced push Ezra on the spaceship, and like, that's going too far. Okay, maybe you can make her learn techniques with the lightsaber, but there is no way she can ever have Force powers because she's not Force sensitive. And finally, another issue I have besides all those things, there is just no payoff to any story whatsoever. Like, none. There is absolutely no payoff because, as I said, I found Ahsoka pretty underwhelming from the beginning. But this finale, maybe with the exception of the first episode, where I still cannot get over Sabine surviving the lightsaber stab wound, but this episode is probably very much second worst, and it's probably one of the worst TV show finales I've ever seen. With the exception of season 8 of Game of Thrones, nothing is ever gonna beat that trash, but this is still one of the worst show finales I've ever seen, because there is no payoff whatsoever. Like, Ezra was found a few episodes before, and now he gets sent back to reunite with Rebels and his friends, but now Sabine and Ahsoka stay in the unknown regions and like basically just say, we are where we need to be, Ezra is where he needs to be. Like, what? Is this meant to be a finale to their story? Because in some ways it really felt like it, and then it's one of the worst finales ever. Or what next? Are they now gonna just have heroes look for them instead? And just retell the same story, but this time with Sabine and Ahsoka. And then there is also no payoff to Balon or Shin anyway. Like, those two villains were actually the best part of the show, but their story doesn't have any payoff whatsoever either. Like, overall, I have to say the Ahsoka show was very disappointing. It was disappointing from the beginning, but I can't really say it got better. For a few minutes when Thrawn came in the picture, I actually somewhat started defending the show because I did really like Thrawn and I wanted him to be done justice, but considering even he wasn't done justice, I cannot defend Ahsoka show. Honestly, I might go even as far as to say Ahsoka 4 probably was even worse than Season 3 of The Mandalorian. Lots of people complained about Season 3 of The Mandalorian, and while Season 3 was kind of underwhelming, I wasn't as harsh on it as most people, and I did even like parts of it, but same cannot be said about the Ahsoka show. The Ahsoka show is very, very huge disappointment. Like, I was hoping we would get maybe Ahsoka meeting with Luke Skywalker and maybe team up together to defeat Thrawn. But no, we didn't even get that. It's just basically Ahsoka and Sabine looking for Ezra. It's just a sequel to Rebels and not even a very good one, because Rebels is a great show. Ahsoka, it's not. And finally, I will say this last thing. I still think that Ahsoka became way more important character than she ever had any right to be. Ahsoka was always possibly my favorite character in the Clone Wars. I loved her in Rebels. But I don't even think she should live past the Empire, and she certainly should not live after the original trilogy. Like, she became way more important character than she ever had any right to be. She's like everywhere and nowhere at the same time. She's like this friend that everyone knows and no one knows at the same time. So yeah, in conclusion, Ahsoka became way more important character than she ever had any right to be, and the show was very disappointing without any stakes or payoff whatsoever. So the only Star Wars related thing I'm still looking forward to is, and I'm somewhat hopeful about, is Season 3 of The Bad Batch and Tales of the Jedi Season 2. Those things I'm still very much looking forward to, and I'm actually counting on them being good. Because anyway, Star Wars is actually much better now when it comes to its animated material than any live action. So, here is my ultimate thought on the Ahsoka finale and Ahsoka show as a whole. And what do you think of the Ahsoka show? Press the like button, please subscribe to this channel, and I'll talk to you soon in another video. Talk to you soon, bye!